In this lesson, we're talking about the importance of understanding Salesforce's record ID structure. We care about IDs because our goal is to always be increasing the speed and accuracy with which we're performing our data migration. When we can look at a source file and recognize that a column with 005 prefixed IDs are users and a column with 003 prefixed IDs are contacts, we're faster at making sense of the data and identifying what steps are required to transform it for loading. When we know that we need to use Salesforce's case-insensitive 18-digit record IDs when performing transformation steps in Excel, we are ensuring data accuracy. Learning why the 15-digit Salesforce ID isn't considered unique in an Excel VLOOKUP is critical to performing a zero-error migration. Each record in Salesforce has its own unique ID. One way you can find it is by looking at a record's URL. In Lightning, you'll see an 18-digit ID that follows the / after the object name. Let's break down the ID into its parts. The first characters are the key prefix. In this example of a contact record, the prefix is 003. You'll quickly start recognizing the prefix of the other native objects you're consistently loading into, such as 001 for accounts, 005 for cases, 006 for opportunities, and so on. Characters 4 and 5 indicate the instance the record was created on. Character 6 is reserved for Salesforce's future use, so for now it's always set to 0. Characters 7 through 15 are the 9 digits that make up the record's unique identifier. Fun fact, there are more than 13 quadrillion possible combinations of these 9 digits. Take that one to trivia night and be your team's hero. The last 3 digits of the ID are what make it case insensitive. This matters because if you do a VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP in Excel based on the 15-digit ID, Excel won't see the difference between an uppercase letter and a lowercase letter. This one simple miss can crumble the foundation of an entire migration's accuracy. When you run Salesforce reports, the record IDs returned are 15 digits, which means they're not safe for manipulating in Excel. In order to add 18-digit IDs to our reports, we have to create a custom field that transforms the 15-digit ID into its 18-digit case-insensitive equivalent. Create a custom formula field on any object with the formula case-safe-ID, no spaces, followed by the word ID in parentheses. Add this custom field to your report, and you can now see the 18-digit ID of the record. A faster way to return 18-digit IDs is by exporting data from Data Loader, which only returns 18-digit IDs. The data export functionality in Setup also returns 18-digit IDs, so you'll have plenty of ways to access the necessary IDs for all of your data needs. Now that you understand record IDs, let's talk about when you'll need metadata IDs to prepare a file for data loading. The most common example is when you need to assign record types. If you're unfamiliar with the term metadata, think of it like the blueprint of a house. It defines a structure, layout, and design. Data is like the furniture and personal items inside the house. It represents the actual content and usage. Field names, such as first name and last name on a contact record, are metadata. The record that has the values populated in these fields is data. Let's say we want to create a list of all the record types on an object so we can place them in our file for loading. The manual way to do this is to click on a record type one at a time from Setup and look at the URL. Copy the ID between the /. Notice a prefix of 012. The faster and most accurate way of capturing record type IDs is to export them using Data Loader. Log into Data Loader, check the Show All Salesforce Objects box, and then search for the record type object. Create a file name and set the location for the extracted file. Select all fields and click Finish. In the Excel file that's been extracted, you'll see the ID column with the record ID. Notice again the prefix of 012, the name of the record type, and the object the record type is on. Also note that metadata IDs do change between orgs. So if you're doing any work in a sandbox, note that the metadata IDs may be different from those in production. Other examples of metadata IDs you may need in your data loads are permission sets, profiles, queues, roles, and campaign member statuses, to name a few. Now that you've got a good grasp on IDs, up next we'll talk about how using external IDs can save a lot of time during migrations.